You know, for I think for the reason that there's so much unemployment in South Africa. Sometimes I think the BEE laws, government needs to look at that, because that law is discouraging people to me is discouraging people to start companies, because now if they start companies, and those companies, if they want to do business with government, they have to give 30% of the stake of the business to to empower black people. I think somehow it might be discouraging entrepreneurship and contributing to unemployment. um I mean, you look at it. I mean, one of this thing is, don't you think that Elon Musk would really want to invest in South Africa? I know he's got, at the moment, he's causing controversies in the United States, and setting fire so that South Africa could be in trouble. But I think there's a point that he mentioned that he won't allow it in his business, that people have like 30%. It's like he won't give 30% of his business to other people, to take over in his company. I think the guy might have interest to invest in South Africa. Maybe if it was not of BEE, there will be Tesla in South Africa. Because I mean, if you look at the guy, for me it looks like he has a hatred for the leadership. He does not have hatred for the country. He has a hatred for the leadership, because maybe one of them said, like, he said to him, look, if you come to South Africa, you can give me a stake. And then the guy, it seems like he doesn't like things like that, because it looks, our leaders, they're people who work for themselves, you know they empower themselves. That is why they won't let go of the BEE. But for you and me, the ordinary people, BEE is not doing anything for us. It's not doing anything for us. And actually, if in actual fact, if you can look at it, it's causing a lot of problems and frustrating people. I don't know if you remember in Mpumalanga, where people banned Patco buses. Apparently, that group of people, it's alleged that taxi association that banned those buses. But now their feud is, they say they want 30% of Patco. That can't happen, Baba. I mean, if we can look, BEE now, it's promoting criminality. Now in the township, when in the township there's construction, now all of a sudden there's a construction mafia. They want 30% of that business. I mean, I think this law needs to be looked at, and maybe it needs to be replaced with something, because now criminality is taking over. But I think also what's doing that is because people are frustrated. They're not benefiting. Communities are not benefiting. You look at Cyril. Cyril is a billionaire. And what made him to be a billionaire is BEE. And then how did he get to the stage where he becomes a billionaire? Is because he is politically connected. Me and you, we cannot get to that level. And the guy is comfortable. I don't think he feels the effects of the people on the ground. In most cases, if you listen to Cyril, for me, Cyril is a liar. And not only a liar, he's a serial liar. He lies a lot. For me, I mean, remember the Tumamina era. I used to think that this guy was going to bring change. But in my mind, I was sitting there looking at him when he says, now, Tumamina. But I said, look, hey, you say we must Tumawena, but all along for the 9 years of not achieving anything, you were there. You were there sitting behind Jacob Zuma. You were there. You were approving him. And you were part of the cabal that was protecting him when he was supposed to have been kicked out at the presidency, when people are trying to get rid of him, Parliament was trying to get rid of Jacob Zuma. You were there supporting that shit. Oh, I beg your pardon, supporting that nonsense. Hmm? And now later on, you're gonna tell us that that was 9 years of nothing. Sometimes ANC, for me, it looks like it's too wild. I mean, they say Jacob Zuma represent 9 years of nothing. But he was ANC member. He was sitting there with them, taking decision with them. They were there with him. They were celebrating with him. I remember Mam Konyani. He used to celebrate with Jacob Zuma, that Meola. Mam Konyani. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm mispronouncing her surname, but she used to dance on stage and say that. I think at that time they were saying that the rand is reacting to what is happening in South Africa in political spheres in South Africa, and the rand was at that time it was declining, and she said, no, the rand can fall, we will pick it up just like that. And look at the effects, what is happening now. The food is so expensive for other people now. Hmm? I'm telling you, people, and our politicians, especially in most cases, I don't think they do understand economics. They don't understand it. Okay, now another thing that I'm asking myself. Okay, this question of land, that we want land. If you look in the rural areas, you look like in places like in KwaZulu Natal, the land, there's vast land there, and it's owned by the king. And then not only that, you go in most rural areas, you go to Limpopo, you go to Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, there's vast land there. But there's no one who's living there because most of the people have moved to Gauteng. I think we need to do investigation so that we can make comparison, because sometimes politicians might be playing with our minds. Now we're saying we want the land. Which land do we want? Are we saying that we want the land that is owned by white people, or what land, and what do we want that land? What do we want it for? Because myself, I don't. If I get land, I'm not thinking of farming. I'm not a farmer. I'm thinking of maybe doing something business like on that land. But if I go to rural areas where I come from, because everybody comes from a rural area somewhere. They will give you land there. There is land, and you don't even buy it. Or is that land not profitable because it's in an area that there's no business? I mean, we need to, I think this thing of land, we need to look into it, and it needs to be investigated. I wish that there can be an organization that goes out there to investigate the question and answer the question of land. That who has the land? You look at KwaZulu Natal, there's so much land, but that land is not producing food. It's not producing more food. It's not producing enough food that we can put in the market. You understand? You go to Western Cape. There is land there. White people in that land, they are producing more food than people in KwaZulu Natal who have more land. So we need to do more investigation into these things and not let politicians, play with our minds. But I'm telling you, BEE is a problem. That thing, it needs to be reviewed, because I think there might be companies that wants to come to South Africa, but now they're not coming in. They cannot come in because some of them, they don't want, to give away the 30% to the politicians. And the politicians, they don't want to get rid of that law because, other companies, they're complaining. They say, no, they need to be a reform in South African policies. But like, they're not clear when they say they need reform. They must be reform in our policies. I think one of the reforms that you might be talking about, it might be this 30%. And politicians, they don't want to let it go. If you look at it, the people who protect BEE, you look at who are those people. They are people who are in politics, the people that we know. I remember Nkosazana Zuma, she was like, no, we can change this thing. Not only her, I'm just giving an example, that those are the people who are crying foul. But me and you, we can be benefiting nothing. Nothing. Now, Starlink, we could be having Starlink here in South Africa, but like Elon Musk is having a problem with that 30% thing, you know. But if you look at it now, it looks like he is against us. But actually, he's not against us. He is against ANC. you know. But now the politician, they have a way to put it like, no, this guy is against South Africa. No, he's against ANC. It's against, I'm telling you now. Please subscribe. I'll really appreciate it very much. And I'll make more videos for you.